All right, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on, everybody? Your boy Jan716 back here again. And today, man, got to talk about this Jon Jones versus Dominick Reyes fight. Very, very controversial fight. A lot of people are saying that Dominick Reyes was robbed of this fight. I get it, because if I was a betting man and if I went for Dominick Reyes and if I would have saw it, I probably would have thought the same exact thing. I had Jon Jones winning this by a decision. And he did win. He won by unanimous decision. So I'm just going to say this real quick. I don't think that Dominick Reyes got robbed. I thought that Jon Jones won this fight fairly. I know that there's going to be a lot of people that's going to disagree with me on this, but I thought that Jon Jones won this fight. I'm going to explain in a little bit. But like I said, before I do, just want to say congratulations to Jon Jones. Congratulations to Dominick Reyes. I know that Reyes didn't get the result that he wanted, but man, he went toe-to-toe with one of, if not the GOAT of the UFC, one of the GOATs of MMA. Of course, Fedor, my boy Fedor, man, I think is personally the GOAT. But overall-wise, just shout out to both those guys. Shout out to those Warriors. Shout out to Valentina Shevchenko for winning that game against Caitlin. Shout out to the rest of the prelims and just the other card, Derek Lewis and the rest of those guys for just handling their business, fighting their hearts out for the crowd, and putting on a great performance for us. So anyway, why did I think that Jon Jones won this fight? I thought what ultimately won Jon Jones this fight was the fact that he controlled the fourth and fifth round. He controlled the championship rounds. That is when it comes to a 5-round fight, especially in these championship rounds, you have to win these championship rounds. I mean, if you look at the UFC, if you look at the history of the 5-round fights and these controversial fights, they all have a theme. You have to win those late rounds. That's what matters. Doesn't matter what you do early on. You have to win those late rounds. Perfect example: GSP versus Johnny Hendricks. This one was known as possibly the robbery, maybe of UFC history, because I thought that Johnny Hendricks should have won the fight. But if you go back and watch the fight, even though Johnny Hendricks did so much damage to GSP, the difference was that there was a round where it could have went to either way. Even though, again, Johnny Hendricks did so much more damage on GSP, there was a round, I think it was either the second or third, where it could have went either the way. The fourth and fifth round was all GSP. But a lot of people thought that, oh, well, this is a majority win, Johnny Hendricks should have won, but the fourth and fifth rounds was all GSP. You have to win the championship rounds. Well, I know there's going to be some people that say that, well, there's Henry Cejudo and there's Demetrious Johnson, right? That's a very controversial fight, and Henry Cejudo, he didn't convincingly beat Demetrious Johnson. And I agree. It should have been a split. It should have been a split decision, which I think it was a split decision in my opinion. I could be wrong about that. But what did Henry Cejudo do? He won the fifth round. Henry Cejudo won the fifth round. Dominick Reyes didn't win the fourth round, and he did not win the fifth round. That was all Jon Jones. Jon Jones consistently pushed on. He consistently pushed on the pace. He cut off Dominick Reyes, got him a lot to the cage, had Dominick Reyes pretty much running for the majority of the fourth and the fifth round. Even though, again, I don't blame Dominick Reyes for doing that, because at the end of the day, you do not want Jon Jones to have a volume. You want him to disrupt that volume, keep him on his toes, have him spend that energy, and especially because you think that you're winning the fight, sometimes you don't want to be too aggressive. You want to be a little cautious, especially going against a guy like Jon Jones, who can take you down and can definitely do some serious damage to you at any point. But if Dominick Reyes would not allow Jon Jones to pretty much cut him off and pretty much control the center of the ring throughout the fourth and the fifth round, at least for maybe one round. Like if he would have went to the fourth round, Jon Jones is pressuring him, but Dominick Reyes would not let him control it. I thought that would have been enough for Dominick Reyes to win this fight. So the fact that Jon Jones controlled it, I thought that the fact that Jon Jones didn't really take any significant damage. Jon Jones didn't take any significant damage, right? I know that I didn't see a black eye. You didn't see his eyes being swollen. You didn't see any of that. He did not take any significant damage. Now, Dominick Reyes in the first round, I thought he totally won it. I thought he totally won the first round. The second round, you can make an argument that could have went to Dominick Reyes, but I thought that Jon Jones won that. Third round was all Reyes, but then the fourth and fifth round, the championship rounds, this is something that the judges, I think, look more so often than I would even say the early rounds. This is what they really care about, is What can you do in deep waters? Are you going to get better or are you going to slow down? And ultimately, John Jones, the judges, they believe that Dominick Reyes did not do enough in a convincingly fashion that Reyes totally won this fight. And I will say this: the one thing I don't agree on was the unanimous decision. It should have never been a unanimous decision. It was a split decision because I thought that this was a very, very, very close fight. But at the end of the day, it wasn't enough, in my opinion, to beat the champion. Now, what could Dominick Reyes do more differently? Is that late in those championship rounds, you cannot let John Jones control or dictate the pace of the fourth and fifth round. John Jones was the aggressor. Boxing, right? You look at boxing. When it goes to these decisions, what do the judges look at a lot sometimes? Who was the aggressor? Who was the guy that kept pushing on the pace? Doesn't matter how many shots how many shots they landed or significant strikes. Who was the aggressor for the majority of the fight? John Jones was that guy. Pretty much, you can make an argument for at least 3 rounds. You can make an argument really 4 rounds because there were some moments where John Jones really was that guy where he was pushing. Dominick Reyes, again, the first round, very, very aggressive, but he was landing strikes. That was the difference. He was landing his strikes, and he was also really being aggressive, kept the volume going, compared to those late rounds where you really saw Dominick Reyes and the volume start to fade away. You really got to saw John Jones. I'm sorry, you really started to see John Jones really increase that volume in those late rounds, especially in the 5th round where everyone can agree. John Jones totally won the 5th round. He really increased that volume of his strikes. Again, Reyes kept moving. He kept moving when he really needed to try to disrupt that timing and try to disrupt that volume whenever he felt that John Jones was getting heated up. He did that. And that's a lot of credit to Reyes. But what Reyes, I feel like, has to do in order to win this type of fight is that you have to make an adjustment where you can really disrupt that type of aggression for John Jones. You have to really delay it. You have to try to get John Jones to really stay on his toes instead of trying to pick up that volume and start really coming in and really start to put on the pressure, which I definitely thought that Dominick Reyes let happen in the 4th and 5th round. Overall wise, the championship rounds, especially in a fight like this where they thought it was close going into the 4th and the 5th, you have to win these championship rounds, at least one of these rounds, in a convincing fashion, or maybe even close enough in order for you to say, you know what, it could have went either the way, but at the end of the day, Dominick Reyes, we felt like Dominick Reyes did enough to win this 4th round. It could have went either way, but we felt like he did enough. I felt like Dominick Reyes did not do enough in the 4th and 5th round. I felt like John Jones totally dominated the 4th and 5th round, no matter about the strikes and stuff like that. The takedowns, I think that's bullshit. I definitely think that the judges didn't do it because of takedowns. Even though, again, you can make an argument, because the 3rd round, right? John Jones took Reyes down the 3rd round, but Reyes won the 3rd round. So I definitely don't think that really mattered. I just felt like it was overall John Jones controlling the center of the ring, dictating the pace, having Dominick Reyes on the cage, and the fact that if you look at John Jones' entire body, he wasn't hurt. It didn't look like he took any serious damage, at least structurally, right? He didn't take any serious damage. Right, again, the GSP Hendricks fight, you can make an argument Hendricks won based off, look at GSP's face. Right, the dude totally got absolutely dominated in those early portions, even though GSP won the championship rounds. But still, you can make an argument that Hendricks won that and he was robbed. Right, the Gustafsson Jones fight, that's probably the most controversial fight that John Jones has ever been in, because you can make an argument that those rounds could have went to either fighter. It was that damn close, and especially if you look at John Jones' face, it was swollen. Gustafsson did some real damage to John Jones that we haven't seen since maybe Thiago Santos, when he landed pretty much all those leg kicks, which caused a serious injury to John Jones to his knees. So overall wise, like I said, I definitely think that Dominick Reyes, you can make an argument he won, and I definitely believe there's going to be some people that's going to disagree with me. But overall wise, I just felt like overall he did not do enough to win this fight. John Jones is also the champion. And sometimes you have to convincingly show that you have beaten the champion. In my eyes, this was close enough where you can make an argument that he could have done it. But overall wise, I mean, John Jones, it was just such a super, super close fight that at the end of the day, I don't think it was just enough to beat the champion. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for this video. I know if you guys have any feedback, or if you guys would definitely want to, send some feedback to me, especially if you guys think that Dominick Reyes won the fight, definitely would like to know your opinions. But anyway, guys, that's all I got for you guys today in this late night. This is Gen 716. I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Have a good night.